What's up, y'all? This is Andy's Story with Wild Lumens, and today I'm going to show you the quick and easy way to do carnivore diet style beef stew. The cool thing about this recipe is that it's completely carnivore diet approved, meaning all we're going to be using is animal-based product as well as some salt and spring water. It's about as simple as it gets. And this is the perfect recipe to be able to go to the supermarket, pick up some of the cheaper cuts of beef, and save some serious money. In fact, I was recently at Whole Foods and I noticed they had a sale on some of their beef chuck roast stew meat, half off. So what I did is went ahead and picked up some and decided this is the perfect opportunity to do this recipe video. But before we get started, I'm gonna ask you for a little favor. If you could just hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and drop a comment below, I would really appreciate it. It helps this carnivore bus keep on moving in the right direction. So without further ado, let's dive on in. So as I was saying before, this recipe is super easy. What you're gonna need is to go pick up some chuck roast beef or stew meat for that matter, and that's what you'll be able to use. That kind of meat is definitely on the lower end side of things. I've seen it range anywhere from $2.50 a pound upwards to $7 a pound, or even a little more, depending on the quality of the meat and if it's grass-fed. The other ingredient you're gonna need is some salt. And the best salt out there, hands down, in my opinion, is Redmond Real Salt. In fact, I like it and use it so much that I have to buy it in bulk. This is a 10-pound bucket, which you can pick up on their website. I'm able to offer you a 15% discount if you use WILD at checkout. So there you go, you got a little coupon code to save some money. Not only that, they have a ton of other products that I recommend, including their electrolyte mix and the toothpaste. So browse their shop, see if there's anything else you need, and pick it up. Oh, and I should also mention that the Redmond sea salt is being sourced from Utah, and what that means is it's most likely going to be free of any toxins that you would find from salt coming from the ocean and microplastic.
Yes!
You're going to need some water. I'm going to recommend that you get some spring water just because it's probably the healthier choice. You're not dealing with chlorine and other contaminants that you would find from tap water. I think everybody out there pretty much now knows that tap water is not going to be the healthiest option. In fact, if you can find a spring close to you and harvest your own spring water, I definitely recommend that. Go get some glass bottles and start filling them up and stock up, and then you got water for a little while, and it gives you something to do on the weekends. Now, I just want to talk about this recipe really briefly. Most people that are making stew are going to include other ingredients like pepper, some spices, onions, carrots, potatoes, and a bunch of other plant matter that's definitely not carnivore diet compatible. Now, I'm not saying don't go ahead and do that, because everybody on the carnivore diet does it a little bit differently. This way is definitely not going to taste the best, but in my opinion, it's probably the healthiest choice. When you add this plant matter like onions and spices and pepper to the crock pot and you're letting that sit, you're basically making a concentration of phytonutrients and oxalates and other things that are probably not doing you a whole lot of good. That's why I like to look at this as the ultimate carnivore diet friendly recipe for all us carnivore diet food refugees. First thing we're going to do is get our meat, place it on a plate, and go ahead and rub copious amounts of sea salt to the meat, and then we're going to let it sit for a while, come back, and then put it in the crock pot. So for now, I'm just going to get that part out of the way. Oh yeah, I should mention, I'm looking at the label. This here is about 2 pounds of meat, and I got it for $6 on sale, so you're looking at about $3 a pound. So if you're trying to save money or you're looking for a way to do the carnivore diet, this is another way to be able to do that and still leave money in your bank account. All right, I'm just gonna sprinkle a ton of salt, well, not a ton, but a good amount of salt throughout, and then make sure I get it on all the sides and massage it in a little bit. And then I'm just gonna let it sit for about 30 minutes, come back, and then put it in the crock pot. This isn't a required step because I've seen people go ahead and just put the meat in with the water, and I've seen other recipes where people will put the meat in and then submerge it in bone broth, which I made last week, but I've already gone through my stores of bone broth and I don't have any more bones left. So this is definitely the down and dirty version of just water and not bone broth. But maybe I'll do a video in the future with the bone broth just so that people know about that option. All right, it's been 30 minutes and now we can go ahead and place the meat in the crock pot and then add the spring water. And what I'm gonna do is just add enough spring water so that it covers the top of the meat so that the top of the meat doesn't get dried out. And for 2 pounds of meat, we're looking at about, how much water? 33.8 ounces of water, to be exact. We're just gonna add a little bit more salt to the mix, cover it up, put this on high, and let it sit for about 5 to 6 hours. The longer you let it sit, the more tender the meat is gonna be. And when you're dealing with chuck roast meat, you really want it to be tender, otherwise it's really hard to eat. All right, guys, just got back from playing some basketball. It's been 6 hours. I'm starving, and I believe our stew is ready to be devoured. I took a quick look at it. It was just simmering perfectly. I can smell it, the aromas throughout the house, and it's time to get some food in my belly. So all we gotta do is get our big spoon, dip it in there, put it in the bowl, let it cool a little bit, and then do a quick little taste test to see how this carnivore diet recipe turned out. All right, there we go. Got a bowl of beef stew. I'm gonna add a little bit more salt. Definitely try to keep as much salt on my food as possible. A lot of the carnivore diet folks will say to salt to taste, and that's what I do pretty much every time. So I'm gonna let it cool for just a second, come back, taste test, and let you guys know how this recipe tastes. All right, guys, this thing is totally ready to eat, not too hot. It's that perfect temperature. I'm gonna go ahead and do a quick little sip of the soupy part. Tastes so good. Now I'm gonna dive into a chunk of beef meat. So simple, but so tasty. A lot of people complain about the palatability and the boringness of a carnivore diet, but trust me, after a while, you just really have this good relationship with meat, and you can go ahead and just have something with water and salt, and it's still gonna taste good. Doing this, cooking it in the crock pot for 6 hours on high is perfect. The meat is tender, easy to chew. It's just perfect, and it can't be easier than this. And you're gonna save money, so go hit up the chuck roast, the stew meat, get yourself a crock pot, try this out. I have enough meat in here to last me till tomorrow and the next day for dinner, or the next 2 nights for dinner, because I was doing about 2 pounds of meat. I try to eat at least 2 pounds a day. It's not always possible, but I do the best I can. And I hope you guys are doing the best you can, and I hope you guys check out the next video, hit subscribe, and I'm off to go think of some new ideas. Thanks for watching.